everyone, welcome to the GR Auto Gallery. We're doing another episode of our joyriding series here at the GR Auto Gallery. We are off to...
Gonna buy me lunch today, Chris, aren't you? Where are you gonna take me?
We're gonna go to Harmony Brewery, which is just outside of downtown Grand Rapids. And we are gonna drive in what, Johnny?
Well, I don't know. Let's go see what's prepared for us, Chris.
All right.
I think I outdid myself on this one.
Oh.
You see it down there in the distance?
Ooh, a little Beetle?
Yeah, 1962 Volkswagen Beetle.
Slug Bug Green, Johnny.
Wow!
Never gets old.
Never gets old. So this car has been fully restored, Chris.
Yep.
A lot of attention to detail. And you know what you'll see, there's a hopped up 1275cc engine in the back. It's been lowered just a little bit to give it perfect ride height.
Yeah.
Staggered wheels, front and rear. So the rears are a little wider than the ones in the front. Parchment interior, the classic Samba tray.
Yeah, bamboo.
Yes.
What's under that hood? Open up that hatch. Oh yeah.
Oh man, I was
Dual
hoping to see some luggage, but man, oh man, look at that.
Dual carbs, dual air filter breathers, which is cool.
This motor's been professionally blueprinted and balanced. Yeah, so this thing really scoots.
Even got a little different exhaust on there, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
All right, very cool. So Johnny, you know, like we were saying, it's a really cool classic 62 Beetle, you know, bug, slug bug, which has got a whole bunch of names for itself, but you know, just some really cool features. You know, it got lap belts for the front passengers. Even in the back seat, it has the original seat belts from the factory, which is kind of cool. Obviously, someone added a tachometer to it just to give it a little more driving pleasure, but factory stereo, factory gauges, factory steering wheel, which are pretty much impossible to find nowadays, and even functioning wipers, which is cool.
Well, I'm more impressed, Chris, that they had a stereo back in 1962.
Hey, AM radio, baby.
These cars were built in Germany, and they were known as the people's car, and they really helped to get Germany back after World War II. They mass-produced these. I think this is the most mass-produced car ever. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well over 1 million models built.
Well, plenty of millions. So underneath the frunk or trunk or bonnet, people call this, you got a full-size spare tire, obviously your lug nuts, and then even customized little tool tray made out of a Beetle hubcap, which is kind of neat.
Yep.
But fuel filler is in the trunk, or the frunk, which is kind of cool, instead of being retrofitted to the side.
Yep. So yeah, so when you have to fill up with gas, just takes a little bit extra effort, but really creates a clean look to these cars. So really basic, really beautiful. The lines on this one, the fit and finish is absolutely off the hook.
Yeah, it's a sharp car, and we're looking forward to taking it for a spin downtown. So.
All right, I can't wait to drive, Chris.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, rock, paper, scissors.
Let's rock and roll, Johnny.
All right. I think the fuel gauge works.
Wow, that thing is beautiful.
That thing sweet. You must be Barry.
I'm Barry.
Heather.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to meet you. I'm John.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing, Heather?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks for
Welcome.
having us.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Look at this thing. Oh my
Yeah.
That's a 62 Beetle. Nicely restored, obviously, as well as got some nice improvements from stock. So it's just kind of cool. And you know, we scoped you guys up. It hits your flower boxes perfectly. Color
Yes, it
matches
does.
up.
Yep. Wow.
We love the color. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love the hubcaps too.
It is. It's you know, obviously it's a real classic look. It was restored with the intent to drive, so the thing actually drives awesome. And Chris and I had a blast coming down here. Standing shoulder to shoulder, you know. So,
I like the little wicker baskets down by the feet here.
yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Well, that's where you had to put your all your belongings.
Look at that.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of this is like what you would have seen in 1960? What do you say?
Just about.
62?
Yeah. Other than the tachometer,
All of
the
it.
interior is pretty much original. You know, original setup. So carpets, you know, right style seats, and the windows, the door trim, everything.
Are those speakers coming right out?
Yeah, the
Yep.
Speedo. Yeah. So Quality AM radio back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was.
Is the original motor in there? Or?
No, it's not. It's actually been it's been built up a little bit, and a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more spunk. So, which is good because these cars are slow from the factory. So
This one's not as slow, or is it still pretty slow?
it's not as slow,
Okay.
but it gets up and goes. It scoots along pretty good.
Yeah.
So spirited driver, that's what we like to call that.
Yeah, exactly. Have a little fun with it.
So
Thanks for bringing it down.
yeah, you bet, guys. Well, come show us, give us a tour.
All right, so we're here at Harmony Brewery. Address is
1551 Lake Drive.
perfect, and we're with Harry.
Harry and Beather.
So,
This is our first beer. Haven't even had a sip yet. Okay, so we're here at Barry and Heather, Harmony Brewing.
yep, owners here, and we're excited. Local established since 2012, you said.
Yep.
And been serving the local community, East Town, East Grand Rapids area. And going to tell us a little bit about their facility, how they got started, and we're excited to hear. We've heard great things. My business partner John was here last week having dinner, so great experience there, and I've heard nothing but great reviews from people that have been here. So we're excited.
It's really kind of
You got poured us a beer of
This is the Luscious Lion.
Luscious
which is
Lion.
named after one of the founding fathers of Grand Rapids, Lucius Lion.
Oh, okay.
You can see
Like
his
it.
name on the
Oh
street.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
L-Y-O-N. So
Correct.
Luscious Lion. It's our take on any IPA. It's hop forward, low bitterness, but it doesn't have all the haze. So we say it's got all the juice and none of the pulp
That's awesome.
of any IPA. So
Tastes darn good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopping forward, what does that actually mean? What's that in brew speak?
Oh, brew speak, hopping forward. So if you're brewing beer, hops can express different characteristics depending on when you put them in the boil.
Okay.
The bitterness comes out if you boil it really hard, but when you do that, you destroy the aromatic qualities of the hops.
Okay.
So people usually put hops in the beginning of the boil and then some at the very end to get some of the aroma. So with this particular beer, we put 0 hops in at the very beginning of the boil, so the bitterness is really not as strong as you would get in a traditional IPA. But then we just throw a crap load of hops in at the end of the boil, so you get a big burst of some of the newer hop aromas like the tropical fruits, papaya, pineapple, things like that. That all comes from the hops. But
Very cool.
yeah, that's kind of how it was designed.
And you're not giving away any trade secrets, are you?
No, I don't think we're the only ones doing that.
Perfect.
Well, I must say it's great.
It is.
Love it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and what do you got over there? That seems interesting.
Yeah, I've got the Super Juice, which is one of our latest. It's our very newest thing,
Yeah.
and it's something that Barry and Arthur Jackson are doing all the brewing right now.
Okay.
So they developed this, and he's passionate about it, so I'll let him tell you guys. But it's delicious.
Yeah, people love to get the hard ciders. It's something that I was resistant
Hard
to.
seltzers.
Hard seltzers, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Something I was resistant to at the beginning as a craft brewer. I'm all about beer. And so people were asking for hard seltzers, and I just didn't get it. But then actually we started trying to tinker around with it, and it's not an easy thing to brew because you have to be able to ferment something and create a perfectly neutral profile to it. So basically all natural fermentation that ends up crystal clear and 0 aroma or flavor and carbonated with alcohol in it.
Wow.
So yeah, we do that, and I got kind of down for the challenge of it. And then we wanted to try something a little bit different. So what we came up with was Super Juice, which is actually an all-natural fruit juice that we use concentrates that we get from different producers.
Okay.
And then instead of reconstituting juice with water like you would normally do at home, we reconstitute it with our house-made house seltzer. So what you get is actually
Alcoholic juice.
Alcoholic juice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Little
Very
spin on orange
refreshing.
juice, huh?
Yeah, this is a tangerine,
Tangerine.
juice, and it's like lightly carbonated, 4.5% alcohol, just really fruity and delicious.
What's the
And
name of that one?
We're just calling them Super
Super
Juice.
Juice.
Super
Okay.
Juice.
Super Juice.
Super Juice
We'll
fruit
have
seltzer.
rotating
Okay.
flavors.
Yep.
So you choose.
So when you go to create something,
Right.
okay, either this or that. I like to cook, okay, and I'll make something twice. It's never the same. It's always good.
Yeah.
So how do you get your consistency?
That's one of the challenges of being a craft brewer is that you really are in the art of it. Mm-hmm. You don't have a lot of the scientific equipment or the engineers on board that some of these guys like Budweiser
Sure.
Right.
these guys can make it exactly the same every single time because they've got a laboratory, you know. So for us, there is that's part of the beauty of it. It really is. There's a consistency. There's also like a batch-to-batch aspect of it.
Yep.
Depends on what hops we're using. Depends on how the boiler happens to be working that day, if it's crabby or not. Yeah, so I mean, when we get our brands down, like Luscious Limes, for instance, it is pretty consistent because we do it so often.
Right.
It's so repetitive. But yeah, it's definitely not as scientific as you would get at a larger macro brewery.
But that also makes it that sometimes we're like, oh, this batch is amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? I don't know. I forgot.
Right. I must have stirred it an extra time or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And the littlest things can completely change the flavor, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's similar to cars too, you know, like that restoration of that Beetle. You know, people have built those in the factory, you know, obviously to specs, like you said, the Budweiser type mentality. But then these people, when they restore them, you know, they bring them back and like, I'm gonna use a different widget here. I'm gonna tweak the engine this way, or instead of using this interior trim piece, I found something different. And every restoration that we come across in our business is always different too. No matter the same person's doing it or even the exact same car, just a little tweaks throughout it. So it's kind of interesting to hear that same thing with the breweries as well. That,
It is, and no two cars are exactly the same. I mean, you can put a 1970 Chevelle next to a 1970 Chevelle, same motor, same transmission, same everything, and they'll drive completely different.
That's interesting.
You know, so it's just kind of how all that works. So, tell us about your building.
So we bought this building in 2010, and at the time it was a liquor store with a house on the back that had been abandoned for about a decade.
Wow.
And so we did all the work ourselves. We were able to buy it for, I don't know if it's tacky to say, but for 80 grand we bought this whole building.
Yeah, but whole building was just
This.
Right.
And we had to figure out how to put a brew system into it. And so what we had to do is go into the house, cut the entire floor out of the kitchen, and put the brew tanks in the basement.
Wow.
So they're sticking up through what used to be the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
And these brew systems, or the brew system that we actually put in, my brother and I were home brewers when we first started, and so we didn't know how to brew on a commercial system. So this system is basically a extra large home brew system that we cobbled together out of old dairy tanks and yogurt processing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so nothing is automated at all. It's all single shelled. You turn on the electric heating element and it starts to boil. You turn it off, you know.
Yep.
Right.
And in the fermentation side, the only way you can control the temperature is to control the temperature of the whole room. Right? You know, there's like a window unit in the wall that we turn up and down. So I mean that got us started. And definitely worked well for what we were used to doing. But the more we brewed on it, the more we saw like the lack of capabilities that had. But it's still good for some things. Like we could brew sour beers on that. We can brew some of the more rustic ales, farmhouse style ales that are really kind of made to be brewed like that.
Right.
So obviously you got some great brews. What's your specialty on the menu for food wise?
We have wood-fired pizza in this location, which we just mentioned that we were from Chicago, so we got some pizza roots. And
strong pizza opinions.
strong pizza opinions. And so when we first opened this place, because it was such a small little building, when we only had a little square footage for a kitchen, we put in a wood-fired oven, and the wood-fired oven can do everything. It's the only piece of cooking equipment that you need. So for practical reasons, and I used to work for a pizza place in Chicago, that's what I knew how to make. We started the menu, and we were just absolutely blown away by the response to our pizza. We were opening up a brewery, and we're selling like as much pizza as we are beer, and so it's been really great like that. People really respond well to our pizza.
Very cool.
Well, I noticed your bar front, the fascia. Is that a bowling alley floor?
It actually was the women's gymnasium for Western Michigan University.
Oh, no kidding. The women's
to
gymnasium, not just the gym. Okay.
There was an antique shop and they salvaged it, so we were able to buy all the flooring, and it's in lots of different places. And then when we opened, Barry's a carpenter, so he built a lot of the furniture and the bar and everything from scratch. And Barry and our other brother Jackson did all the rehab. I was pregnant at the time, so I got out of all of this.
Somehow she was pregnant for 2 years now.
Funny how that happens, isn't it?
Painted at the end.
So you guys get a lot of blood, sweat, and tears poured into this place, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of the murals. Is there anyone that's the artist around here? Or?
Yeah, we've been lucky to work with Erica Lang. She has a business called Wusa.
Okay.
And it's just right up the street. And we collaborated with her early on. And she actually made our logo. We call him the Hot Buy Guy.
Okay, yeah.
And then, she's done all of our murals so far.
Okay, yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, she does really great work.
Well, I kind of like what you said earlier about the name Harmony and kind of brewing with the area, or blending with the area. I used to live in East Town, and it's a lot of different types of people that live here. It's a great place to live. I had a blast. I loved living here. Unfortunately, my life now with 4 kids, I can't do that anymore. But yeah, I mean, everybody, a whole different walks of life. They live here in Harmony, and it's wonderful. So
we love being in this neighborhood.
Yep.
It's been a big part of our success to be able to open and have like this.
Yeah, walking distance everywhere.
Yeah, super cool neighborhood to be a part of, and we try to reflect it and do a lot of engagement with community work and fundraisers and stuff like that too.
Very cool. Yeah, I know. I was telling John the other day when we were talking about this episode and how when I graduated college, me and my good friend were sitting at my parents' house right before we both went off to our real jobs after college, and sitting around watching TV, and an infomercial came up, and it was Mr. Beer. Brew your own beer at home. And I'll never forget, we both ordered one, and it came in that orange plastic pail. It looked like a barrel. My wife and I tried it to make it about 2 months after we got it. It was the worst purified water that you could ever have. So I've always had a very fond awareness of people that make their beer, because it is quite a science, and it's just amazing. But I'll never forget that thing.
well, especially here in West Michigan now. I mean, the brewery business is it's pretty competitive.
Yeah.
The smaller microbrews like yourselves, or even microbrews, I guess is what you even call you guys. So, I mean, how do you guys just survive in that?
Well, there's a guild that we're really close with all the other breweries. There's a guild that my brother's actually the head of, and we compete with each other for sure. But we're also very collaborative, and we work together to make sure we keep ourselves front of mind and keep customers coming.
Right.
But we're competitive in the way that if I go over to the Mitten and I taste their IPA and it tastes good, it pisses me off. I gotta go back and work on mine a little bit more, and that brings up the whole community too. It makes all of us better brewers.
For sure, I can imagine.
Have you guys entered any competitions or won any awards or?
We just sent off a bunch of beers this year to the GABF and a couple other competitions, and they're actually going to be sending us the results in September. So we're going to be on pins and needles until
the GABF is
the Great American Beer Festival.
Ooh, all right.
That's the big one.
Yeah, in Denver this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah. You guys go for that?
We will this year.
I bet you will.
This is my first time.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to come down here. Like I said, it's been a fun experience to get to know a lot of these local restaurants and bars and breweries that we've been talking with. But this is, in my opinion, the coolest spot we've been so far. I mean, we've been to some neat spots, but just the vibe and obviously the beers taste damn good too. But it's been fun. Great to, and we wish you guys great success. It's fun to talk to fellow business owners here in our local community, because it's something John and I have been passionate about since day one. And same thing, giving back to the community, just anywhere that we can better Grand Rapids, because, it's such a cool town, and it's seen so many changes in the last 10 years since I grew up in high school, and it's been fun to see all these different things that are coming together and offering so much in the local community. So we wish you the best, and again, thank you for the beer, and love to see the tour, show us around, and
we're big fans of you guys too. Everybody we talked to was like,
well, it's fun. It really is. Just to get a business that all of a sudden you get recognized for.
Yeah.
And we've been small business people for our whole lives, and we're to the point too. It's like, wow, okay. Every once in a while, and you guys probably have this too. Probably step back. Maybe you sit out there, maybe across the street, take a look at it, go, this is pretty badass.
Yeah, definitely.
We do the same thing,
gotta do that.
without a doubt. So
That's awesome.
it's been a pleasure to meet you guys. Appreciate you guys being candid with us. That's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
thank you.